Hey, it's Aaron. I am still here on planet Earth, and you guys are too. But guess what? We are one day closer. Thank you for joining me on this live stream. Today is July 28th, um, 2023, and we are here. We're waiting for Jesus. Thanks for all you guys being in the chats. And I saw Brother John in there earlier on, and Laura and Dale and Dr. G33 and Donald and who else was in there that I saw? Brother Rick and Salvation Zone and Jason Orr and Diane, Lindsay, and whoever else is going to show up later on. Thank you for coming and hanging out. So let me just talk openly, and we'll get into some stuff here. So there's a lot of stuff I would like to share with you, a lot of information, a lot of Bible actually. And the theme of this video is the lion, but let's just talk openly about a few things as an intro. I won't read my notes. I'll just talk off the top of my mind. And yeah, I know. Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. So I'll talk off the top of my mind, and then we'll get into it. Uh, I will be using some stellarium, and which I love using the picture of the stellarium and showing you where we're at and connecting it to scripture. I think that's super fun when you can connect both the scripture and what's going on in the stars. So first, this video is highlighting some stuff in August. Um, if we are still here on trumpets, Patrick from Early Watch, and I think it was Daniel Taylor, they found one of them or both of them, or somehow they found this connection with the child asteroid or the moving planet in Virgo and another asteroid or moving planet called Yeshua. And it all relates to the Feast of Trumpets. So that's a cool thing, but we're just going to keep it over there for now. Okay. That gotta see. So if we get past this stuff that I'm going to present, that stuff is fun too. It's great that we have lots of options. But so what do we have right in front of us? Well, the two things that I wanted to talk about in terms of dates is this full moon that's coming around the corner, and that's Tu B'Av. Just mention that, and that is highly regarded as the time when the maidens would dance in the vineyards on a full moon, and that's at the end of Judges. Um, and that is well. Let me show you what it looks like in the sky. Okay, so we got stellarium. We've got this is right around August 1st, and when the moon is full, I'll show you the moon. The moon is over here, right under Capricornus. Okay. And what's going on over here is the sun is in the beehive cluster. So this is this day, Tu B'Av, is the second most joyful day in in the culture of Israel. It's kind of like a Valentine's Day to them. Second to Yom Kippur, Day of Atonement. So this would be a good candidate to be taken and raptured because this would help with the whole provoking the Israel to jealousy, to the Jews to jealousy. Um, so that's that. So this next full moon that's on the table right around August 1st, with the sun being right in the beehive cluster, ain't nothing wrong with that as an option. Okay, but the date that I have really been really super duper excited about is this right here, right when the moon is in the mouth of Leo, the lion. You see right here how it looks like a sickle, right? The front of Leo looks like a sickle. Okay. And so that's the fun stuff. And so that's the middle of August. That's August 15th, August 16th. This is Elul 1. This is the beginning of that month, the last month before the fall feasts come in. And if you read Revelation 14, the beginning of it, or not the beginning of it, Revelation 14:14, it says, "Then I looked, and behold, a white cloud, and on the cloud sat one like the Son of Man, having on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle." But lo, here's the sickle. And we know that Jesus is depicted as the Son. Uh, Another angel came out of the temple, crying out with a loud voice to him who sat on the cloud, "Thrust in your sickle and reap, for the time has come for you to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe." So he who sat on the cloud thrust in his sickle on the earth, and the earth was reaped. So here is the sickle. And we know that in Psalm 19, what does it say? Psalm 19, verse 5, it says, well, I'll read from 4. Well, just read from 1. Psalm 19, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament shows his handiwork. Day unto day utters speech, and night unto night reveals knowledge. There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. Their line has gone out through all the earth, and the words of to the end of the world. To them he has set a tabernacle for the sun. This is spelled S-U-N, which is like a bridegroom coming out of his chamber. We know that Jesus is described as the bridegroom in John. And so here in Psalm 19, we've got the sun being connected as the bridegroom. So here's the bridegroom right in front of us in this star constellation right there. Put it a bit closer for us. And we also have Hydra, the snake, right underneath Leo the lion. So Venus is stepping on the head of the snake, right in the front feet of Leo. We also have Moon right in the mouth of Leo, and Mercury and Mars. And so it's very, very plain and easy to see through Psalm 19 as well as Malachi. Or is it Malachi? What's basically the last verse in the Old Testament? Let me just go grab it. Pretty sure it's Malachi 4, verse 4, verse 2. But to you who fear my name, the Son of Righteousness shall arise with healing in his wings. You shall go out and grow fat like stall-fed calves. There are 2 instances when we see the word spelled as S-U-N, Son of Righteousness. Psalm 19 and Malachi 4, verse 2. And so here we have the sun in the mouth of lion with what looks to be the sickle and the moon. I think it's an easy connection to consider the moon representing the bride of Christ, the church, and the sun representing Christ. The sun is it's a very easy connection because it literally says sun. I mean, basically Jesus is the sun. It's all over the place. But the moon, it's a bit more of a guess or a speculation that the moon would represent the bride. I think that's an easy parallel to consider that. So Jesus is coming for his bride, and he's coming to save us from the mouth of the lion. Daniel was a type of a bride in a sense where he was saved from the fiery furnace. When his 3 amigos went in there, he wasn't there. And when he went into the Daniel's pit, well, it says that God sent an angel to shut the mouths of the lion, and he was saved from the mouth of the lion. But then his enemies were thrown into the lion's den and were destroyed by the lion. So we're going to get into some of this stuff. The story of Samson as well. Samson means sunlight. What does Samson do? He takes honey out of a lion, and he makes a riddle about it, and he's got all these numbers relating to the time that we're in. So I've done some videos on that. What I'll do is I'm going to share my screen here, and I just want to share with you my channel just in general. Let me see here. This right here, I don't know if you can see that. Looks like you can. So this is my channel page, and if you go back down to the video section, if you go back a month or 2 ago, I was pretty excited about the whole Samson thing, and this season, middle of August, I've been focused on this for a while. If you start with this one, the Lion of Judah, the Root of David, 20 to 30 reasons why we are in the season, and then the part 1, Samson's riddle, and then part 2, Samson's riddle, part 3, part 4, part 5. I took a break on this because nobody wants to hear about mid-August back in May and June, whatever that was. So then I started to go into my studies on the whole year, like what year is it? So here was my chart on all the Shemitah cycles, not the Shemitah cycles, the 490-year cycles, which is really exciting. And then we did a lot more. We tackled the Ezra decree. We tackled Jesus dying in 30 AD. We tackled the conversion of Paul, probably in 30 AD. We tried to figure out when Jesus was baptized. We did a thing with Dr. Barry, again, discussing the year and counting those 490-year cycles. So we've done a lot of stuff. I took a break from this whole Samson thing and went into some year studies and cycles. And we talked about Antiochus being a type and shadow The Antichrist, clarifying Daniel 9:27. We brought some Samson stuff back a little bit. But anyway, check out some of these older videos if you haven't seen them, because they'll help you with this live stream here. So here we are doing this. So I will come back and share this screen. So here we are. Okay, so why don't I get into my notes and we'll go with it. We'll go with what's going on here. So I don't take a lot of Strong's is fun. Okay, Strong's is fun. Keep this star picture in your mind. Okay, with this whole thing here. But Strong's numbers are fun, but they're not the gospel. So I acknowledge the numbers. I think they're cool. I think they're fun, but we're not going to pick rapture dates just because of a Strong's number. At the same time, it's interesting, and especially when something significant happens and you see a number like, okay, pretty cool. So I'll tell you one little thing. Here I am about to do this whole lion study and everything, and we know that in Revelation 10, I'll read it right now, that when it says when the lion, I'll just read it. Revelation 10 verse 3. He cried out with a loud voice as when a lion roars. When he cried out, 7 thunders uttered their voices. So we got this connection with lion roaring and thunder. Okay, so I was sitting there at the dinner table with my Aunt Rosemary, and we were just, having a good old salad. And then all of a sudden, just loud lightning and thunder. We both agreed that was loud. That was crazy. What was that? Look at the clock. We both agreed that it happened at 7:38. What does 7:38 mean in Strong's? It means lion. Like, whoa, okay, that's just a little additional icing on the cake. And so I think that just helped me just, okay, sure, look into the lion thing a little bit more. It was just a moment of, okay, fun. Anyway, so I went through the Bible last night. I was doing a word search specifically on lions and just highlighting all the stories and pulling a lot of stuff out of the lions. What's the theme do we have with the lions? We have a connection with David. We have a connection with Samson. We have a connection with who are the other guys that I put on my on my thumbnail? David, Samson. I'll get to it when I get to it. David, Samson, Daniel, of course. I just said that earlier. Ay caramba. Okay, Genesis 49, verse 10. Let's get into my notes here. The first time we see the word lion, it's in the description and the blessing of Judah. So I'm going to go read that. Genesis 49, verse 10. And I like my hard copy a little bit more than my electric copy. But, what are you going to do? I'll put this back up too so we can kind of see. I like having a picture while we're talking about the Bible. Genesis 49, verse 10. Genesis says 49, verse 9. Judah is the lion's whelp. So Jesus came from the tribe of Judah through David and through Jesse and through. You could see the lineage in Luke chapter 3. So Judah is a lion's whelp. Whelp means a cub, basically like the child of a lion, essentially. Okay, so Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, you have gone up. He bows down, he lies down as a lion. And as a lion, who shall rouse him? The scepter shall not depart from Judah, not a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh comes. And to him shall be the obedience of the people. I mean, that alone right there, until Shiloh comes, being in the description of Judah and being the lion. I can even pull this up and let's go there for a second. So who is Shiloh? What is Shiloh? Is Shiloh a place or a person? And I think, and I did a whole lot of study on this, and it seems to indicate that this particular time when it says Shiloh, it means the Messiah. Most times in the Bible, when it's talking about Shiloh, it's a location. It's a location that where the tabernacle was set up in the book of Joshua. But in this particular verse, according to my understanding, this means until the Messiah comes. So this is like this verse right here is a prophecy of Jesus coming from the line of Judah, in my perspective. And right down here, I'll make this a little bigger. Shiloh means Messiah right here, or an epithet of the Messiah. Either way, we know that Jesus is the final resting place for us. If you read the last 2 or 3 chapters in Revelation, he is the temple. He is our Shiloh, our place of peace. And so here, I'm gonna have a sip of coffee here. It's the end of the world, folks. Anyway, so we've got this prophecy of Genesis 49 verse 10, which to me seems to be prophesying that the Messiah is going to come out of Judah, and the description is a lion. So we have already this identity of Christ being a lion, essentially. And so when we go back to this picture, we've got this Leo the lion, and we know that God declares everything from the end into the beginning, and he puts his story in the stars. So it's hard for me to walk past this picture of Leo the lion and now the sun being in Leo, as we know that Samson equals sunlight. And we know Samson was a type of Christ, which we'll probably get into later. So Isaiah 11 verse 1, let's go on to a different area here. And again, just to further show you that it says, there shall come forth a rod from the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots. The Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him. So this is another prophecy of Jesus, and again coming from the same line in Isaiah 11, verse 1. We have 2 Samuel chapter 7. Let's see, where is that now? Just getting there. Okay. Chapter 7, verse 12. Oh yeah, so this is the promise to David. So David's from this line as well. So 2 Samuel chapter 7, 12 through 17. When your days are fulfilled and you rest with your fathers, I will set up your seed after you, who will come from your body, and I will establish his kingdom. He shall build a house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. I will be his father, and he shall be my son. And he goes on to say, your throne shall be established forever. So this is a promise to David, God's covenant with David. And David comes from that line of Judah. And who else did I just say in Isaiah? Jesse came from that line. And Judah is a lion. So there's a lot of context with lion and Jesus. Now, if you need it just simple and clear, we're gonna show you that now. So the Old Testament said everything about Jesus being like a lion and coming from the tribe of Judah. Well, let's see what Revelation 5 verse 5 says before he opens the scroll. But one of the elders said to me, do not weep. Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, has prevailed to open the scroll and to loose its 7 seals. So the Lion is opening the 7 seals. And here we have the Son, Jesus, approaching the Lion. So I look at this picture and say, man, how do we skip this and go right to trumpets right now? And I know trumpets is exciting for some people, and I get that. Some people are forever trumpers, and I get it. And we got some cool planets going on in trumpets, and I get it. And I'll be excited about trumpets if we're there. But how do we skip over this lion constellation? The sun, scripturally saying the sun is basically Jesus. The scripture's basically pointing to the lion, which is basically Jesus. And it says in Revelation 5:5 that the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, has prevailed to open the scroll and to loose its 7 seals. For me, I can't skip over this picture until it's passed. So that's Revelation 5:5. And if that weren't enough from Revelation 5:5, we've got Revelation 22, verse 16. I, Jesus, have sent my angel to testify to you these things in the churches. I am the root and the offspring of David, the bright and morning star. And I did a video a week or two ago, basically talking about David and how David died almost perfectly 3,000 years from 2030. So if you minus 3,000 years from 2030, that's when David died. But I just read you the promise, the eternal promise to David in 2 Samuel chapter 7. But David also came from the line of Judah, this whole lion thing. So we got a lot of connection here with this whole lion and David and Judah theme. If we look at the flag of Judah, we've got a picture of the lion. Okay. Now, sometimes the lion is actually a bad thing too. Like it's a form of judgment, and sometimes it's a good thing. So, what does Deuteronomy 33 say? It says we have let's see here. Deuteronomy 33 verse 22. And of Dan, he said, Dan is a lion's whelp. He shall leap from Bashan. So it's interesting that it says in Deuteronomy 33 verse 22 that Dan is a lion's whelp. Dan is one of the tribes that is not mentioned in the 144,000 sealed in Revelation 7. So I find that interesting. And in Genesis 49, how is Dan described? In, let's see, it's 49 verse 17. And that Dan is described as this. So 49 verse 17 and 18. Dan shall be a serpent by the way, a viper by the path that bites the horse's heels, so that its rider shall fall backward. So we've got this description of a viper and serpent, and he's described as a lion's whelp in Deuteronomy 33 verse 22. So some people think that the Antichrist comes from the line of Dan. I'm not sure, but well, like I said in the stars, we've got this snake underneath Leo the lion in this picture as well. Keep in mind, we've got above it, we've got the bear constellation as well, and above that, we've got what looks to be the throne room. Here is Cephas, right there, and we've talked about that being like the throne room, being caught up, going directly up. Okay, so where did we go? Where did we leave off? Okay, so we got the stand thing. Yeah. Okay, so let's get into Judges chapter 14. This is one of the big highlights of this study. And we're going to go there. Daniel means God is my judge. I like it. Thank you, Fox Metal Jacket. Yeah. Very good. All right, so Judges 14. This is where this is a big deal for me with the picture and the stars. So let's do that. Let's read it. Now Samson went down to Timnah and saw a woman in Timnah of the daughters of the Philistines. So he went up and told his father and mother, saying, I have seen a woman in Timnah of the daughters of the Philistines. Now therefore get her for me as a wife. Then his father and his mother said to him, Is there no woman among the daughters of your brethren or among my people that you must go and get a wife from the uncircumcised Philistines? And Samson said to his father, Get her for me, for she pleases me well. But his father and mother did not know that it was of the Lord that he was seeking an occasion to move against the Philistines. For at that time the Philistines had dominion over Israel. So Samson went down to Timnah with his father and mother and came to the vineyards of Timnah. Now to his surprise, a young lion came roaring against him. And the Spirit of the Lord came up mightily upon him, and he tore the lion apart, as one would have torn apart a young goat, though he had nothing in his hand. But he did not tell his father or his mother what he had done. So Samson quietly killed a lion, essentially is what's going on. And he's interested in marrying a woman. The assumption is that he married this woman at some point in this chapter. I'm not quite sure how this all worked out, but yeah. So we've got a wife here somehow. But more importantly, he kills a lion quietly. Nobody knows about this. Then he went down and talked with the woman, and she pleased Samson well. After some time, when he returned to get her, he turned aside to see the carcass of the lion. Oh, okay, there it is. After some time, when he returned to get her, he turned aside to see the carcass of the lion. And behold, a swarm of bees and honey were in the carcass of the lion. Oh, this is actually pretty cool. I just kind of noticed that right there. Okay, so after some time, when he returned to get her. That is really interesting. That just popped out right now. Judges 14, verse 8. After some time, when he returned to get her. So he's coming to get his bride after some time. And when he went to get her, he turned aside to see the carcass of the lion, and behold, a swarm of bees and honey were in the carcass of the lion. He took some of it in his hands and went along, eating. When he came to his father and mother, he gave some to them, and they also ate. But he did not tell them that he had taken the honey out of the carcass of the lion. Okay, so he takes the honey out of the lion when he goes to get his bride. Wow, that is another added layer to something that just came into my thoughts here as I was reading this. He basically got his bride when he took the honey out of the lion. So here we are. We're waiting for Jesus to get his bride, the Son of Righteousness, to get his bride. We're waiting for the sun to get the moon, basically, if you're looking at this picture in the stars. And Jesus went somewhere for a while, but he's coming back as per John 14. Jesus said, I prepare a place for you. And that's how it is. I prepare a place for you, and I'm coming back for you. So here we have Samson coming back for his bride, but getting honey out of the lion. That's so fun. Okay, so Judges 14, verse 10. So his father went down to the woman, and Samson gave a feast there, for young men used to do so. And it happened when they saw him that they brought 30 companions to be with him. So there's your number 30. Here we are waiting for 2030 being the potential second coming. Then Samson said to them, let me pose a riddle. That pose a riddle is H2330. I'm going to show you that. So let's see. Let's go to Judges 14, verse 12. And I'll show you it on the big screen here. Judges 14, verse 12. And to put forth a riddle, to tie a knot. And I remember I did a video on tying a knot. Basically, that's like a pun for getting married. So Samson put forth or tied a knot, in this case, chud. And it's 2330. Isn't that perfect that we have a 23 and a 30? We've got a 23 representing 2023 and a 30 potentially representing 2030. So anyway, I'll keep you on the picture here. And so Samson said, let me 2330 a riddle to you. If you can correctly solve and explain it to me within 7 days of the feast, and some translations will say banquet. I'll go back to here and show you. Banquet. 7 days of the feasts. There it is, banquet. So we are going to be in the clouds for 7 years. And here we have a 7-day banquet. He's posing a riddle, the riddle 2330. And anyway, we'll go on to it. We'll go back to the stars here. Then Samson said, let me pose a riddle to you. If you can correctly solve and explain it to me within 7 days of the feast, then I will give you 30 linen garments and 30 changes of clothing. Well, there's your 30-30 right there. I'll give you 30 linen garments and 30 changes of clothing. 30-30 minus 1,000 years is 20-30. So there's that. Now, but if you cannot explain it to me, then you shall give me 30 linen garments and 30 changes of clothing. And they said to him, all right, well, pose your riddle. Basically, give us your 2330. Give us your Strong's H2330 that we may hear it. So he said to them, out of the eater came something to eat, and out of the strong came something sweet. So out of the lion came honey. out of the lion came honey. So now for 3 days they could not explain the riddle, but it came to pass on the 7th day that they said to Samson's wife, entice your husband that he may explain the riddle to us, or else we will burn in you and your father's house with fire. Have you invited us in order to take what is yours? Is that not so? Then Samson's wife wept on him and said, only you hate me. You do not love me. You have H2330, a riddle to the sons of my people, but you have not explained it to me. And he said to her, look, I have not explained it to my father or my mother. Should I explain it to you? This actually reminds me of, how it says only the father knows. This is actually another little kind of thing that just popped out to me too. He hasn't told anybody. It's only him that knows the riddle. So I haven't even told my father or my mother. So this is actually another little light connection to, how they say only the father knows. Only one person knows kind of thing, It's another theme here. But anyway, Judges 17. Now she had wept on him the 7 days while their feast lasted, and it happened on the 7th day that he told her because she pressed him so much. Then she explained the riddle to the sons of her people. So the men of the city said to him on the 7th day before the sun went down. Okay, so they figured out the riddle before the sun went down, and here we are looking at the sun once again in Leah line, and they say, what is sweeter than honey and what is stronger than a lion? And he said to them, if you have not plowed with my heifer, you would have not solved my riddle. You would have not solved my H2330. Then the Spirit of the Lord came upon him mightily, and he went down from Ashkelon and killed 30 of their men. Killed 30 of their men. And we're looking at a 2030 second coming after the 7 years, the banquet. And here it's all in Judges 14, in my opinion. It's all, the numbers are all here to really support this 2030 second coming, this 7-year tribulation that's upon us while we're up in the clouds. Anyway, I'll just finish this chapter. So he killed 30 men. They took their apparel and gave the changes of clothing to those who had explained the riddle. So his anger was aroused, and he went back up to his father's house. And Samson's wife was given to his companion, who had been his best man. So that's Judges 14. That's Judges 14. 15 and 16 are significant too. And all the numbers are really fascinating. And just to remind you, I'm always guessing at rapture dates. I don't know when the rapture is happening. It's speculation. Yeah. So that's Judges 14. Okay. So 1 Samuel 17. What's going on there? Well, this is when Goliath is taunting Israel, and David steps up. David steps up and says, Saul, I can take care of this guy. I can do it. But, how does he sell Saul? How does he sell him on convincing him that he can take care of Goliath? Well, this is what David says to Saul in 1 Samuel 17, 34 through 37. But David said to Saul, your servant used to keep his father's sheep. And when a lion or a bear came and took a lamb out of the flock, I went after it and struck it and delivered the lamb from its mouth. And when it arose against me, I caught it by its beard and struck and killed it. Your servant has killed both lion and bear. And the uncircumcised Philistine will be like one of them, seeing he has defied the armies of the living God. Moreover, David said, the Lord who delivered me from the paw of the lion and from the paw of the bear, he will deliver me from the hand of the Philistines. So Saul said to David, go, and Lord be with you. So David sells himself by saying, I've destroyed the lion and the bear. Well, look, here we are. We've got the lion and we've got the bear right above it. But there's a little more. It says, I went out after it and struck it and delivered the lamb from its mouth. That's 1 Samuel 17, verse 35. From his mouth. And the moon, if that's the bride, if that's us, the next day, August 17th, it's past that sickle. And it's in the body of the lion. So my guess is, are we going to be taken out before August, 16th-ish? That's the picture that I'm seeing here. I'm hoping. Keep in mind, though, while this is going on, we can't forget about Jupiter. And where is Jupiter? And Jupiter is over here. It's in the Lamb constellation. So let's read 1 Samuel 17, 35 again. I went out after it and struck it and delivered the lamb from its mouth. From its mouth. The lamb from its mouth. So here's Aries. Jupiter, what I would say would be the man-child, because that was in Virgo, floating in her belly for 9 months, 6 or 7 years ago. What was that? I think it was 6 years ago. Or is it 6 or 7? I think it's 6 years ago. But anyway, and it's above the head of Cetus, and Cetus has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stars in the head of Cetus. And if Jupiter is represented to be the man-child in this case, well, let's go back to Revelation 12 and see what we see here. And we see that, let's see here. Then being with child, she cried out in labor and in pain gave birth. So that was your Revelation 12 sign. Verse 3, another sign appeared in heaven. So another sign in the heavens. Behold, a great fiery red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 diadems on his head. His tail drew a third of the stars of heaven and threw them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman who was ready to give birth to devour her child as soon as it was born. She bore a male child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up to God and his throne. So this dragon basically tried to devour the child. And so here is what looks to be the man-child, and there's Cetus with the 7 stars trying to devour the man-child. But we just read David saves the child, saves the lamb from the devouring beast. And so we go back to here and we stay on this picture. But isn't that cool? That's cool how Jupiter, if Jupiter's the man-child and Cetus is the beast, and it's right under the lamb, I think we got a lot there. I think we got a lot there, and we have a lion trying to basically capture the lamb as per 1 Samuel 17. So, but we know that Jesus comes from the line of David. So David is a lion slayer. Samson is a lion slayer. Samson means sunlight. And so Samson is a lion slayer. Samson takes honey out of a lion. He gets his bride when he gets the honey out of the lion before the 7-day feast. David does the same. David kills the lion, and eventually we know the very popular story that he defeats Goliath thereafter. And so continuing on here. Hope you guys are doing good and enjoying just talking about the return of Jesus. It's pretty exciting stuff. 2 Samuel 17 verse 10 tells us that, let's see here. Somebody was just talking about David and explaining that he basically had the heart of a lion. And even he who is valiant, whose heart is like the heart of a lion. So this is talking about David. So David's got the heart of a lion, described in 2 Samuel 17 verse 10. And then we've got 1 Kings 13. I'm just going to kind of skim over some stories here. This is the death of the man of God. He disobeyed God. Well, what happened? What happened to this man who disobeyed God? 1 Kings 13, if we go from maybe 23. So it was after he had eaten bread and after he had drunk that he saddled the donkey from him, the prophet whom he had brought back. When he had gone, a lion met him on the road and killed him. And his corpse was thrown on the road, and the donkey stood by it. The lion also stood by the corpse. So again, this man of God disobeyed, and a lion killed him. But then what happened? And there men passed by and saw the corpse thrown on the road, and the lion standing by the corpse. Then they went and told it in the city where the old prophet dwelt. There's much more to the story here, but this lion stood there by the dead guy for a while. So the lion in this case represented judgment. It represented judgment in this case. Again, some of these stories I could sit on for a long time, but this live stream would end up being like 5 hours if I sat on some of these stories. I just wanted to highlight some of these lion things here. 1 Kings 20. Again, a kind of another connection with lions and judgment. 1 Kings 20, 35 through 36. Now a certain man of the sons of the prophets said to his neighbor by the word of the Lord, strike me, please. And the man refused to strike him. Well, then he said to him, because you have not obeyed the voice of the Lord, surely as you depart from me, a lion shall kill you. And as soon as he left him, a lion found him and killed him. So here's another story of God using a lion to basically kill somebody, a form of judgment. So very clearly, we can see that a lion means judgment in many cases too. What does Job mention about all this? And let's go to it. So Job chapter 4, verse 9 through 11. By the blast of God they perish, and by the breath of his anger they are consumed. The roaring of the lion, the voice of the fierce lion, and the teeth of the young lions are broken. The old lion perishes for lack of prey, and the cubs of the lioness are scattered. So we've got a description of kind of connecting God as a roaring lion. Job 10, verse 16. We have, if you heed, if my head is exalted, you hunt me like a fierce lion. So there's another connection with God, hunting him like a fierce lion, or a description of him anyway. And again, so we've got this constellation here. How do we skip over this constellation when all these lion connections are in the Bible? Psalm 10, Psalm 10, Psalm 10, Psalm 10, verse 9. Okay. So sometimes the lion, though, is described as like the wicked people are like the lion. So here is Psalm 10, verse 9. He lies in wait secretly as a lion in his den. He lies in wait to catch the poor. So this is basically talking about the wicked. And Psalm 17, we have the same theme there. Psalm 17, verse 11 and 12, basically connecting the lion with wicked people. They have now surrounded us in our steps. They have set their eyes crouching down to the earth, as a lion is eager to tear his prey, and like a young lion lurking in secret places. Psalm 18 is very much a rapture chapter, and so that comes after what we just read about the lion connection. And then Psalm 19, after that, is talking about the heavens declaring the handiwork of God. It's making the connection to the son and the bridegroom. It later on talks about the honeycomb, which I've connected with 2030 in a video a week or two ago. That's all in Psalm 19 right there. And that's cool. That's good. We have Psalm 22, verse, let's see, 13. They gape at me with their mouths. Oh yeah, this is basically like a prophecy of Jesus on the cross. So this is Jesus' words, or there's a prophecy of Jesus. They gape at me with their mouths like a raging and roaring lion. Whoa. Psalm 22, verse 13. So that's like, again, the enemy described as a roaring lion. And what is the prayer? Save me from the lion's mouth and from the horns of the wild oxen. Then we've got this flip in Psalm 22 after that. So that was one of the last kind of like prayerful things. I'm going to read verse 20 again. Deliver me from the sword, my precious life from the power of the dog. Save me from the lion's mouth. Are we not in a situation where we want to be saved from the lion's mouth as well? Yeah, I'd like to be saved from the lion's mouth. Hello. And so here we are. If we are the moon and right in the mouth of the lion in the middle of August, are we going to be saved from the lion's mouth? I sure hope so. So that was Psalm 22. Psalm 91. Most people in this chat probably know Psalm 91. Yeah, I hope so too, Brother John. Thank you guys for all being here. I love you. I got so many notes. So most of my eyes are on my Bible and on this on my notes. But I love that you guys are all here. Thank you for being here. Love you guys. Let's go. Let's go. Let's fly as soon as possible, man. Yeah. But yeah. Okay. Psalm 91. He shall give his angels charge over you to keep you in all your ways. In their hands they shall bear you up, lest you dash your foot against a stone. You shall tread upon the lion and the cobra, the young lion and the serpent. You shall trample under foot. Okay, so you see the stars, how the serpent is under the foot of the lion? Nice. That makes Psalm 91 come alive for me. Because he has set his love upon me. Therefore, I will deliver him. Woohoo! I will set him on high. Woohoo! Because he has known my name. Woohoo! He shall call upon me, and I will answer him, and I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. Let's go. Let's go, Jesus. Let's do your thing. Ready for the Lion of Judah to come and save me, and for the Lion of Judah to step on the serpent's head, just like this picture is showing us. So, Proverbs 19. What did I have here? Oh, yeah, Proverbs 19. So, more description, more. There's tons and tons of description of lion stuff. Proverbs 19, verse 12. The king's wrath is like a roaring of a lion. But his favor is like dew on the grass. All right, so here we are. The king's wrath is like the roaring of a lion. Here we are. We got the lion right in front of us. At the very least, let's not skip over August, folks. Let's not skip over August with this lion picture. So, Proverbs 20, verse 2. The wrath of a king is like the roaring of a lion. Woo! Yikes. Whoever provokes him to anger sins against his own life. All right. Okay. We've got some other things here too. The lazy man says, there's a lion outside. I shall be slain in the streets. Proverbs 26 says the same thing. Let me get it. 26 verse 13 through 16. The lazy man says, there's a lion in the road. A fierce lion is in the streets. So we got some lion connections there. Proverbs 28 verse 1. The wicked flee when no one pursues, but the righteous are bold as a lion. Woohoo! Yeah. Proverbs 30 verse 29. Where'd we go? Where are we? There are 3 things which are majestic in pace. Yes, 4 which are stately in walk. A lion which is mighty among the beasts. A lion which is mighty among the beasts. And I just read you the connection with lions and the king. Yes. Isaiah 21. Isaiah 21. We got a lion stuff going on here. The lion pops out in verse 8. Then he cried, a lion, my Lord. I mean, this chapter is kind of long, but let's do it. Let's read it. Let's read Isaiah 21. The fall of Babylon is proclaimed. The burden against the wilderness of the sea as whirlwinds in the south pass through. So it comes from the desert, from a terrible land. A distressing vision is declared to me. The treacherous dealer deals treacherously, and the plunder plunders. Go up, O Elam, besiege, O Media. All its sighing I have made to cease. Therefore my loins I filled with pain. Pains have taken hold of me like the pains of a woman in labor. I was distressed when I heard it. I was dismayed when I saw it. My heart wavered. Fearfulness frightened me. The night for which I longed, he turned into fear for me. Prepare the table. Set a watchman in the tower. Eat and drink. Arise, you princes. Anoint the shield. For thus has the Lord said to me, go, set a watchman. Let him declare what he sees. And he saw a chariot with a pair of horsemen, a chariot of donkeys, and a chariot of camels. And he listened earnestly with great care. Then he cried, a lion, my Lord, a lion, my Lord. It goes on and on and on. But yeah, the lion is in Isaiah 21, Isaiah chapter 30, verse 6 through 8. The burden against the beasts of the south through a land of trouble and anguish, from which came the lioness and the lion, the viper, and a fiery flying serpent. This looks like the picture that we see right here. Once again. Isaiah 31, verse 4. God will deliver Jerusalem. It says, for thus the Lord has spoken to me, as a lion roars, and a young lion over his prey. When a multitude of shepherds is summoned against him, he will not be afraid of their voice, nor be disturbed by their noise. So the Lord of hosts will come down to fight for Mount Zion and for its hill. as a lion roars, it says. And then Isaiah 31, verse 4, basically. Jeremiah, verse 4. What does that say? What does that say? Jeremiah, verse 4, 5 through 8. Declare in Judah and proclaim in Jerusalem and say, blow the trumpet in the land. Cry, gather together and say, assemble yourselves and let us go into the fortified cities. Set up the standard toward Zion. Take refuge, do not delay, for I will bring disaster from the north and great destruction. The lion has come up from his thicket, and the destroyer of nations is on his way. There it is, guys. The lion has come up from his thicket, and the destroyer of nations is on his way. He has gone forth from his place to make your land desolate. Your cities will be laid waste without inhabitant. For this, clothe yourself with sackcloth, lament and wail. For the fierce anger of the Lord has not turned back from us. Yeah, that was Jeremiah 4, verse 5 through 8. Jeremiah 5, 4 through 6. Therefore I said, surely these are poor, they are foolish. For they do not know the way of the Lord, the judgment of their God. I will go to the great men and speak to them, for they have known the way of the Lord, the judgment of God. But these have altogether broken the yoke and burst the bonds. Therefore a lion from the forest shall slay them. A lion, another form of judgment right here. Jeremiah 25. Jeremiah 25, verse 30. Let's see, where are we? The Lord will roar from on high. The Lord will roar from on high and utter his voice from his holy habitation. He will roar mightily against his fold. He will give a shout as those who tread the grapes against the inhabitants of the earth. A noise will come to the ends of the earth, Lord, as a controversy with the nations. He will plead his case with all his flesh. He will give those who are wicked to the sword, says the Lord. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, behold, disaster shall go forth from nation to nation, and a great whirlwind shall be raised up from the farthest parts of the earth. We skip down to verse 38. He has left his lair like the lion, for their land is desolate because of the fierceness of the oppressor, and because of his fierce anger. So that's good. We're going to eventually get into Daniel 6, which I wanted to read through too. But let's finish Jeremiah. We have a couple more in Jeremiah here. Jeremiah 49. A lot of the last part of Jeremiah is destruction of Babylon kind of stuff. Jeremiah 49, verse 19 through 24, I have written here. Behold, he shall come up like a lion from the floodplain of the Jordan, against the dwelling place of the strong, but I will suddenly make him run away from her. And who is a chosen man that I may appoint over her? For who is like me? Who will arraign me? And who is that shepherd who will withstand me? Therefore, hear the counsel of the Lord that he has taken against Edom, and his purposes that he has proposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their dwelling place desolate with them. The earth shakes at the noise of their fall. At the cry, its noise is heard at the Red Sea. Behold, he shall come up and fly like the eagle, and spread his wings over Bozrah. The heart of the mighty man be Edom. In that day shall be like the heart of a woman in birth pains. I have a little note here, actually. Let me just look at my notes here. Jeremiah 49, verse 22. And it says something about this being a sheepfold. Let's just see if it says something in the Strongs here. Jeremiah 49, verse 22. Oh, it says sheepfold. It comes from the root sheepfold. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. That's interesting. Sheepfold, because of our beehive cluster. Okay, neat. So I guess Bozrah is connected with the word sheepfold, which would be connected to the beehive cluster in the crab, and the sun is basically in that area around August 1st at its strongest peak, which is around that full moon. So that's cool. That's a cool little side little thing there. That's fun. That's fun. Okay, so that's Jeremiah 49. Jeremiah 50, verse 41. Behold, a people shall come from the north, and a great nation, and many kings shall be raised up from the ends of the earth. They shall hold the bow and the lance. They are cruel and shall not show mercy. Their voice shall roar like the sea. They shall ride on horses set in array like a man for the battle against you, O daughter of Babylon. The king of Babylon has heard the report about them, and his hands grow feeble. Anguish has taken hold of him, pains as of a woman in childbirth. Behold, he shall come up like a lion from the floodplain of the Jordan. Like a lion, women in childbirth. Like a lion, women in childbirth. That's the theme there. Okay. Let's read one verse from Ezekiel 41. Well, let's not read it, but Ezekiel 41 is talking about the cherubim, and the description is of a man and a lion, the two faces of the cherubim. Let's get to Daniel 6. Let's go to Daniel 6, and we're going to read through all that because this is another one I wanted to highlight. Okay, guys? So Daniel 6 is an easy connection because most people are very familiar with Daniel, and especially this particular story, how Daniel was thrown into the lions den, and he was taken out. So the two big stories I wanted to highlight was Samson, which we read, Judges 14, and this one. So here's another big highlight, right around almost at the 1 hour mark of this study. I'm going to pour some coffee into my mug here while I do that. So again, we know that Daniel wasn't thrown into the fiery furnace. He was appointed to a higher place in the beginning of Daniel. And so, 1 second. Now we got Daniel 6, and the bad guys are trying to get Daniel thrown into the lion's den, basically. And let's just read Daniel 6 because I wanted to read the whole chapter and see if anything pops out to us while we got this picture in our mind. So Daniel 6, here we go. It pleased Darius to set over the kingdom 120 satraps. And by the way, 120, there's been basically 120 Jubilee cycles from 2030 to when I believe Adam sinned. So from the time that Adam sinned to 2030, I believe, is 120 Jubilee cycles times 50, basically. If you count the Jubilee cycles times 50, it's 6,000 years. And I think that from the time that Adam sinned from 2030, there's your 6,000. I've done that in some other videos, but yeah. So we got this 120 number right in the beginning of Daniel 6. To be over the whole kingdom. And over these three governors, of whom Daniel was one, that the satraps might give account to them, so that the king would suffer no loss. Then this Daniel distinguished himself above the governors and satraps, because an excellent spirit was in him. And the king gave thought to settle him over the whole realm. So the governors and the satraps sought to find some charge against Daniel concerning the kingdom, but they could not find no charge or fault, because he was faithful, nor was there any error or fault found in him. Then these men said, we shall not find any charge against this Daniel, unless we find it against him concerning the law of his God. So these governors and satraps thronged before the king and said thus to him, King Darius, live forever. All the governors of the kingdom and administrators and satraps, the counselors and advisors, have consulted together to establish a royal statute and to make a firm decree that whoever petitions any god or man for how long? For 30 days. For 30 days. So there's our 2030 connection once again. Remember, Samson was asking for 30 garments. And here is the three satraps, or the three governors, I should say, saying that if basically anybody prays to God within a 30-day window, let's throw him in the lion's den. So anyway, that whoever petitions any god or man for 30 days except you, O king, shall be cast into a den of lions. A den of lions. For 30 days. A den of lions. Now, O king, establish the decree and sign the writing, so that it cannot be changed according to the law of the Medes and the Persians, which does not alter. Therefore, King Darius signed the written decree. So they basically want to throw him in the lion's den if he's praying to God within a 30-day window. Now, when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went home. And in his upper room, with his windows open toward Jerusalem, he knelt down on his knees 3 times that day and prayed and gave thanks before his God, as was his custom since early days. Then these men assembled and found Daniel praying and making supplication before God. And they went before the king and spoke concerning the king's decree. Have you not signed a decree that every man who petitions any god or man within 30 days, there's your 30 again, except you, O king, shall be cast into the den of lions? The king answered and said, the thing is true, according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which does not alter. So they answered and said before the king, that Daniel, who is one of the captives from Judah, there's your Judah connection, right? Judah, the lion, is a lion's whelp, Judah. Daniel, Judah. Okay. That Daniel, who is one of the captives from Judah, does not show due regard for you, O king, or for the decree that you have signed, but makes his petition 3 times a day. And the king, when he heard these words, was greatly displeased with himself and set his heart on Daniel to deliver him. And he labored till the going down of the sun to deliver him. So he was trying until nighttime, and it says from the going down of the sun. So this is Daniel 6:14. Let me show this. Let me get that up. Daniel 6:14. And here it is, from the going down of the sun to deliver him. But remember how in the Samson riddle, it said that they figured out the riddle before the going down of the sun as well. So we have this other theme of the word sun. In the book of Daniel 6, we got the sun connection. But in Judges 14, right near the end, let me go find it, where it says the sun. I might have a hard time finding it on the computer here. Maybe not. I probably highlighted it. It's probably near the end of it. Oh, there it is. And the men of the city said to him on the 7th day, before the sun went down. There is the sun there in Judges 14. And in Daniel 6, the king is now sorry and trying to figure out how he can reverse this whole decree until the sun went down. So isn't that interesting? We've got the sun connection. We've got this lion connection. Very cool. Very good. Then these men approached the king and said to the king, now, O king, that it is the law of the Medes and Persians that no decree or statute which the king establishes may be changed. We got you, buddy. So the king gave the command, and they brought Daniel and cast him into the den of lions. But the king spoke, saying to Daniel, okay, here's the big one. Your God, whom you serve continually, he will deliver you. He will deliver you. Your God, whom you serve continually, he will deliver you. Now, in the book of Daniel, I would say Daniel represents the church. In the case that earlier on in Daniel, he was elected to a high place, and he did not go into the fiery furnace. His 3 buddies did, but not him. And so now the king is telling Daniel, who, in my opinion, is a type and shadow of the church, or type and shadow of maybe the bride in this case. Daniel, your God, whom you serve continually, he will deliver you. Verse 17, then a stone was brought and laid on the mouth of the den, and the king sealed it with his own signet ring, and with the signets of the lords, that the purpose concerning Daniel might not be changed. Now the king went to his palace and spent the night fasting, and no musicians were brought before him. Also his sleep went from him. Then the king arose very early in the morning and went in haste to the den of lions. And when he came to the den, he cried out with them lamenting voice to Daniel. The king spoke, saying, Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God, whom you serve continually, been able to deliver you from the lions? Then Daniel said to the king, O king, live forever. My God sent his angel and shut the lion's mouth. My God sent his angel and shut the lion's mouth, so that they have not hurt me, because I was found innocent before him. And also, O king, I have done no wrong before you. Now the king was exceedingly glad for him. And this is verse 23, as a reminder. This is verse 23. 23. Now the king was exceedingly glad for him and commanded that they should take Daniel up out of the den. Up and out of the den. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no injury whatever was found on him, because he believed in his God. So Daniel was taken out of the mouth of the lion's den in verse 23. Verse 24, and the king gave the command, and they brought those men who had accused Daniel, and they cast them into the den of lions, them, their children, and their wives. And the lions overpowered them and broke all their bones in pieces before they even came to the bottom of the den. That's verse 24. Verse 23, Daniel was taken up and out. Verse 24, complete destruction. So here we have a lion in the stars in 2023. The sun, the moon, the sickle. It's pretty interesting. Verse 25, going on, the king Darius wrote, to all the peoples, nations, and languages that dwell in the earth, peace and be multiplied to you. I make a decree that in every dominion of my kingdom, men must tremble and fear before the God of Daniel. For he is a living God, and steadfast forever. His kingdom is the one which shall not be destroyed, and his dominion shall endure to the end. He delivers and rescues, and he works signs and wonders in heaven and on earth, who has delivered Daniel from the power of the lions. So this Daniel prospered in the reign of Darius and in the reign of Cyrus the Persian. A child story now it's very relatable to what we see in the stars from Daniel 6. Now the next chapter we have the vision of the four beasts, and it just so happens that the first vision, the first was like a lion, Daniel 7 verse 4. We won't get into that, but there's another lion there right after the story of the lion's den. So I find that very interesting. Okay. There is a lot. I got a lot more. I don't know if I should keep on going here. Maybe I will. I'll just keep on going here. Hosea 5. Let's see here. Hosea 5. Where are you, Hosea? Hosea, where are you? Hosea, Hosea. It's right after Daniel. Hosea, Hosea. Okay, Hosea 5, verse 13. Okay. When Ephraim saw his sickness and Judah saw his wound, then Ephraim went to Assyria and sent to King Jareb, yet he cannot cure you, nor heal you of your wound. For I will be like a lion to Ephraim, and like a young lion to the house of Judah. Even I, will tear them and go away. I will take them away, and no one shall rescue. I will return again to my place till they acknowledge their offense. Then they will seek my face. In their affliction, they will earnestly seek me. So we got this big lion description before a really major verse, and that is Hosea 6. Come and let us return to the Lord, for he has torn. He will heal us. He has stricken, but he will bind us up. After 2 days, he will revive us, and on the third day, he will raise us up. So we got this line description before Hosea 6, 1 through 2. I did a video on that representing the second coming. But that is wonderful how we have that line connection. Hosea 11, verse 10. They shall walk after the Lord. He will roar like a lion. When he roars, then his sons shall come trembling from the west. So there's your description of the Lord roaring like a lion. Hosea 12, verse 7 through 13 I have written here. A cunning Canaanite, deceitful scales, and on his hand he loved to oppress. And Ephraim said, surely I have become rich. I have found wealth for myself. In all my labors they shall find in me no iniquity, that is sin. But I am the Lord your God. Ever since the land of Egypt, I will again make you dwell in tents, as in the days of the appointed feasts. I have also spoken to the prophets and have multiplied visions. I have given symbols through the witness of the prophets. Through Gilead has idols. Surely they are vanity, though they sacrifice bulls in Gilgal. Indeed, their altars shall be heaps in the furrows of the field. I'm not quite sure if this is actually what I wanted to read. It might have been Hosea 13. Yeah, that's probably what. Yeah, I wanted to read Hosea 13. Okay. So I will be to them like a lion. There it is. Hosea 13, verse 7. So I will be to them like a lion. I'm going to fix that on my notes. Like a leopard by the roar, I will lurk. I will meet them like a bear deprived of her cubs. I will tear open their ribcage, and there I will devour them like a lion. O Israel, you are destroyed, but your help is from me. I will be your king. Where is any other? That he may save you in all your cities, and your judges to whom you said, give me a king and princes. I gave you a king in my anger, and took him away in my wrath. The iniquity of Ephraim is bound up, his sin is stored up. The sorrows of a woman in childbirth shall come upon him. So we got this childbirth thing, we got this lion theme in Hosea 13. What do we have in Amos chapter 3, verse 4? Will a lion roar in the forest when he has no prey? Will a young lion cry out of his den if he has caught nothing? Hop over to verse 7. Oh, yeah, this is a big one. Amos 3, verse 7. Surely the Lord God does nothing unless he reveals his secret to his servants, the prophets. Most of us watching this video have heard this verse many times now. Surely the Lord God does nothing unless he reveals his secret to his servants, the prophet. A lion has roared. Verse 8. A lion has roared. Surely the Lord God does nothing unless he reveals his secrets to his servants, the prophets. A lion has roared. Perfect. Verse 12. As a shepherd takes from the mouth of a lion 2 legs or a piece of an ear, so shall the children of Israel be taken out. And there you go. That could represent actually the second coming, because I think 2030 is significant with Leo the lion as well. There's a lot of planets moving in 2030. Okay, so some New Testament stuff. 2 Timothy. This is Paul writing. And at the end of his chapter here in 2 Timothy, verse 17 through 18, but the Lord stood with me and strengthened me, so that the message might be preached fully through me, and that all the Gentiles might hear. Also, I was delivered out of the mouth of the lion. I was delivered out of the mouth of the lion. This is Paul writing. And the Lord will deliver me from every evil work and preserve me for his heavenly kingdom. To him be glory forever and ever. Amen. So he says, I was delivered out of the mouth of the lion. Well, that's perfect. That's a perfect little verse for this picture and the stars that we have. 1 Peter 5, verse 8. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, walks about like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. Again, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, walks about like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. But earlier we read about David killing the lion, saving the lamb out of the mouth of the lion. So if you are in Christ, you will be saved from the mouth of the lion. Now, I don't know if we're actually going to be getting out here in August, but there's a good little parallel there with this picture. So hopefully our lion killer will be coming soon to save us from this mouth of this vicious, evil lion system that is coming upon us. And about that, brothers and sisters, you don't need me to tell you. You know how twisted this world is, and how broken it is, and how ridiculous everything is. You guys already know. Revelation 4, verse 7, the first living creature was like a lion. So that's a good thing just to note. The first living creature was like a lion. And if you do some reading and finagling, you can understand that the first seal. Now I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard one of the four living creatures saying with a voice like thunder, come and see. You know that this first living creature is a lion because it describes in the second, third, and fourth seal which of the living creatures are opening it. So that means the first living creature is announcing the first seal. It just so happens it's a lion, and the lion thunders, and that brings us to Revelation 10 as the lion thundering. But then that also brings us to Psalm 29, the seven thunders of God. So there you go. The first seal is announced by a lion. So wouldn't it make sense that this whole lion theme right now, the seals may be broken pretty soon when the sun is in Leo the lion. I don't know. I like it. I like how the picture lines up. We also have Revelation 13, verse 2. Now the beast which I saw was like a leopard. His feet were like the feet of a bear, and his mouth like the mouth of a lion. So sometimes the lion is represented through God being lion, and sometimes we have lion description as judgment, or as an enemy thing. So what are some other notes that I've got here? We have some other parallels over here. We got the First Kings. Here it is, First Kings chapter 7, verse 29. Oh yeah, the panels on the carts and the levers are lions. So this is Solomon building, after building the temple, building other buildings of Solomon. So that's 7 verse 29, 7 verse 36, same kind of thing. There is on the plates of its flanges and on its panels, he engraved the cherubim, lions, and palm trees wherever there was a clear space. So the picture and the imagery of lions is very important to God. We also have in First Kings chapter 10, verse 19 and 20. This is Solomon's. We're talking about Solomon's great wealth, but when we're talking about where Solomon was, moreover, the king made a throne. Yeah, so Solomon's throne of ivory and overlaid it with pure gold. The throne had 6 steps, and the top of the throne was round at the back. There were armrests on either side of the palace of the seat, and 2 lions stood beside the armrest. 12 lions stood there, one on each side of the 6 steps. So lions was a big imagery thing in Solomon's. I don't know if it was the temple here or what. It looks like it. Or his throne, I should say. Solomon's throne, it looks like. But yeah, there's a bunch of lions there in this description. Psalm 35, verse 17. I think we skipped a few Psalms here. So there we go. Psalm 35, verse 17. Lord, how long will you look on? Rescue me from their destruction, my precious life from the lions. Rescue me from the lions, basically, in Psalm 35, verse 17. Rescue me from the lions. I will give you thanks in the great assembly. I will praise you among many people. Psalm 57, verse 1 through 4. Be merciful to me, O God, be merciful to me, for my soul trusts in you. And in the shadow of your wings I will make my refuge until these calamities have passed by. I will cry out to God Most High, to God who performs all things for me. He shall send from heaven and save me. He reproaches the one who would swallow me up. God shall send forth his mercy and his truth. My soul is among lions. I lie among the sons of men who are set on fire, whose teeth are spears and arrows, and their tongue a sharp sword. So again, save me from the lions, basically, in the Psalms. And of course, in Song of Songs, can't forget the love book. People in the world, join hands, jump on the love train, join hands. Song of Solomon, chapter 4, verse 8. Come with me from Lebanon, my spouse, with me from Lebanon. Look from the top of Amana, from the top of Sennar and Hermon, from the lion's den, from the mountains of the leopards. Isaiah 15, verse 9. What do we have there? For the waters of Dimon will be full of blood, because I will bring more upon Dimon, lions upon him who escapes from Moab, and on the remnant of the land. Yeah. Jeremiah 2. Verse 14. Is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he plundered? The young lions roared at him and growled. They made his land waste. His cities are burned without inhabitant. We have Jeremiah 50 again, and we missed a few earlier on, so we'll get that right now. Jeremiah 50, verse 17. Israel is like scattered sheep. The lions have driven him away. First, the king of Assyria devoured him. Now, at last, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, has broken his bones. Again, we got this consistent theme of lions and judgment. And this is now going to Jeremiah 51, verse 36 through 38. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, behold, I will plead your case and take vengeance for you. I will dry up her sea and make her spring dry. Babylon shall become a heap, a dwelling place for jackals, an astonishment and a hissing. Without an inhabitant, they shall roar together like lions. They shall growl like lions' whelps. What else have we got here? We've got Nahum. Let's see. I'll go use the app here. Nahum. Show you some verses instead. Nahum 2, 11 through 13. Where is the dwelling of the lions and the feeding place of the young lions? Where the lions, even the old lion, walked, and the lions whelp, and none made them afraid. The lion did tear in pieces enough for his whelps, and strangled for his lioness, and filled his holes with prey and his dens with ravens. Behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord of hosts, and I will burn her chariots in smoke, and the sword shall devour the young lions. And I will cut off thy prey from the earth, and the voice of the messengers shall no more be heard. Zechariah 11, verse 3. There's a voice of the howling of the shepherds, for the glory is spoiled, a voice of the roaring of the young lions, for the pride of Jordan is spoiled. Hebrews 11, verse 4, or is it not 4? It's Hebrews 11, verse 33, I meant to say. This is the whole faith chapter. Oh, here's our Samson. There. And what shall I say more? For the time would fail me to tell you of Gideon and Barak and of Samson and Jephthah and David. Also, and Samuel and the prophets, who through faith subdued kingdoms, wrought righteousness, obtained promises, stopped the mouths of lions. So this is like a faith thing. Stop the mouth of lions. Forgot to mention Daniel. Well, he didn't really stop it, but he was saved from it. But yeah, that's an awesome chapter to read. And then, of course, in Revelation 9, the lion description is is kind of a form of judgment here. The ones that are going around stinging everybody for 5 months. And they had hair as hair of a woman, and their teeth were as the teeth of lions. And then Revelation 9, verse 17. We've got some more lion description. Just another form of judgment, really. And thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them, having breastplates of fire and a jacketh and brimstone, and the heads of the horses as the heads of lions, and out of their mouths issued a fire and smoke and brimstone. So there are some of the main notes. So let's just summarize and conclude this and pull this whole presentation together. So the main highlight of this video is to Judges 14 and Daniel 6 were really the big connection here. Both really strong connections with our theme of this lion and the sun. Samson means sun. Samson was a type of Christ. It says that he was traded for 1,100 pieces of silver. Now, it might actually be 5 different guys paying for Samson, 1,100 pieces each, regardless if it's 5 or just 1. I think it was still fitting because Samson was around 1,100 years before the time of Christ. So I think it was a prophecy of Christ in that of itself. He was being sold for that. Jesus was sold for 30 pieces of silver in the New Testament. We've got Joseph being sold for 20 in the Old Testament. So we got a 20-30 connection there. But this particular video is highlighting the fact that there is so much lion typology in the Bible. Again, the identity of Christ, the root and offspring of David, the Lion of Judah is going to open the seals. And here we are. We get the Lion of Judah coming for us, hopefully very, very soon. In terms of the simplicity of what they're looking at and all that stuff, again, I like the full moon coming around the corner. That is Tu B'Av, when the maidens were snatched and in the vineyards of Shiloh. That kind of relates to Genesis 49, verse 10, when Shiloh comes, but I think that word Shiloh is Messiah. I don't think it's the actual place in Genesis 49, verse 10. I think it's actually the person of Jesus. It's a prophecy of Jesus coming. Shiloh, the Prince of Peace. Shiloh means peace, so I think he is the Prince of Peace. So when the Messiah comes, but in Genesis 49, verse 10, we've got a description of a lion. But the cool thing is the maidens that were dancing were in Shiloh, in the location of Shiloh. So that is cool. That is a really cool thing. So we can't just give up on this full moon around the corner. I'll read it. Judges 21, verse 21. And watch, and just when the daughters of Shiloh come out to perform their dance, then come out from the vineyards, and every man catch a wife for himself from the daughters of Shiloh, then go to the land of Benjamin. And verse 23, and the children of Benjamin did so. They took enough wives for their number from those who danced, whom they caught. So there's your Shiloh connection there. So that would be related to this full moon. But the majority of this presentation is focusing on this picture, which is August 15th, August 16th, when the moon is just approaching the mouth of Leo the lion. And it connects with our Daniel story because it says that Daniel says, you've sent an angel to close the mouth of the lion. And the Samson riddle, he takes honey out of the lion's carcass, and he makes a riddle 7 days before the feast. And then after the feast, he kills 30 guys, and then he ties 300 foxtails, and then he kills 1,000 guys, and then he kills 3,000 people, and Judges 16, I believe. And so there's a whole story there. So if this all passes, then everybody's all hyped up right now about the trumpets and seeing again that Yeshua star or asteroid and the child asteroid. I think that's awesome. I think that's very, very exciting. Should August pass, we got something to chew on for the Feast of Trumpets. But I would implore you to at least consider the lion studies and the lion connections throughout Scripture from Genesis all the way to Revelation. We've got these Lion connections all over the place. So I pray that this blessed you. Please hop into our Discord and socialize with us. It is a place to do video chats and text chats and to touch base with myself or anybody else. I also have T-shirts and everything like that in my description box. I just partnered with Sealed in Christ. I've got the link there in the description box now, as well as my Zazzle link and all that, guys. So be blessed. We're out of here soon, and keep on keeping on. We don't put our faith in a date. We put our faith in Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through him. So you'll either experience the wrath of God soon or the embrace and the escape of Jesus and his love pretty soon. Which side are you going to be on? Are you going to be on the left side or the right side? I hope you pick the right side. I hope you pick the Jesus side. So until then, guys, take it easy. Go, Jesus, go. One day closer. Adios.